Well, I just finished listening to a book on tape. The book is Letting Go of God by Julia Sweeny. I was surprised. It was a lot different from what I was expecting. It was crafted rhetorically very well, and it was an engaging narrative of a personal experience. The part about Beethoven, the movie Beethoven, uh, part 3 and part 4, the third movie and fourth in the series, was hilarious, I found. And I'm not really sure if this is a book per se. It could be just a monologue um, that she has written. I know she's been giving this speech. I think she gave it at a skeptical meeting, and there's also a video movie version of it, I think, as well. All that being said, I do not feel that the book was very persuasive as a proof of atheism. Julia is not a professional philosopher or a religious scholar, of course, but it seems to me a large part of what she was trying to do in the book, and again, it's not necessarily a book, but I'm just calling it that for convenience. A large part of what she was trying to do, I think, is to justify disbelief in God, at least disbelief in God in her own mind, as a result of her spiritual journey, or if you prefer, journey away from spirituality. Her journey away from spirituality. As a deeply religious person, I myself always find it tragic when somebody walks away from faith. That is tragic, in my opinion. So my heart goes out to her. At the same time, I feel compelled to criticize her arguments, not her as an individual, mind you, but her arguments, because hers is a high profile case of what is becoming an all too common trend. There's all sorts of people on YouTube and elsewhere who are uh, at one time apparently Christians, and at another time speaking out against faith, or at least explaining why they themselves no longer are Christians. And I really don't think the reasons people normally give for losing faith are normally very good, rationally speaking. This adds to the tragedy of it all for me. So this is not a personal attack against Miss Sweeney, just an analysis of what I consider the faultiness of her atheological arguments. So Julia grew up in an Irish Catholic family. She went to Roman Catholic schools and even contemplated becoming a nun at one point of her life. As an adult, she wanted to read the Bible for herself, which she apparently hadn't done prior to this. So she enrolled in an adult church class which studied the Bible. While attending this class, she gave a very shallow reading of the Bible. She was very shallow in her interpretation of the Bible. So, because of this shallowness of her interpretation, she badly misrepresented what the Bible was saying, and the priest who was teaching this class wasn't very good in giving her spiritual guidance. He wasn't very orthodox in taking the Bible seriously as history and so on. So he didn't really give her very much guidance. So this experience of reading the Bible and interpreting it in a shallow way got her started on her journey away from religion. She found it harder to believe in God once she knew what the Bible itself actually said, as opposed to what people had told her growing up that she should believe, or what people told her that the Bible taught. Okay, so after leaving the Catholic Church, she got involved with Buddhism and New Age religion, but that didn't really pan out for her in the end. She still believed in God in some sense at this point in her life, having left the Catholic Church but still believing in a God. And she was dating a man, she says, who was a strong proponent of ID, intelligent design. Apparently he didn't really understand it though, and based on what she says in the book, Julia doesn't understand it either. And for that reason, she rejected it too. So first she misunderstands the Bible, she rejects that. She misunderstands ID, she rejects that. Then because of a misunderstanding about substance dualism and her studies on the human brain, she came to reject the idea eventually of an immaterial human soul. Finally, she became very overwhelmed with the lack of good evidence for the existence of God, on her view, and a voice one day started saying in her head, louder and louder, "There is no God. There is no God." She slowly became a full-blown atheist over time, and eventually she told her parents about her deconversion, and they officially disowned her when they heard this, but that didn't last very long. They were good, loving parents. They loved their daughter even though she rejected the faith that they had raised her in. And apparently her father was a particularly devout Catholic while he was alive. He is now since died as a faithful Catholic, and he was raised in Catholic schools as well. And one of his favorite authors, by the way, is G.K. Chesterton. And G.K. Chesterton, if you don't know, he is one of my favorite authors as well. He's a genius, a Roman Catholic, and I plan to do an apologist profile on him at some point, on G.K. Chesterton. So I thought that was interesting that she is familiar to some extent with G.K. Chesterton. Now, I can appreciate the fact that as we get older, we start questioning things and have to make our faith our own. That is, if we feel the evidence warrants we ourselves believing in the faith of our parents. And I struggled very deeply with doubts for a time myself, around high school age. Everybody struggles with doubts from time to time. I still struggle with doubts sometimes. And Julia Sweeny betrays the fact that she really did think through things and examine the facts for herself. So that she is to be commended for that. However, I really don't think she is anywhere near epistemic or rational justification for her current belief that there is no God. First of all, her conclusions on the God question are based on misunderstandings. Excuse me. For example, she says her boyfriend told her that the human eye could not have evolved and so must be intelligently designed. But Michael Mousetrap Behe himself openly admits that the human eye is not irreducibly complex, and its pathway to neo-Darwinian evolution is clear and uncontroversial. Even according to his own perspective, he doesn't find that controversial. Well, if Behe allows that the eye evolved, then any ID proponent should allow for that, because Behe is the main guy who is talking about things not being able to evolve because they are intelligently designed when they have irreducible complexity. That is one reason why I think she doesn't really understand what ID is. So Julia Sweeny, it appears, didn't need to read all those books and do all that research about evolution. And more about this in the next video. Thank you.